So some people are very much in favor of the launches, and they also have like an enchantment with them. They're very curious about the scientific aspects of the rockets and the satellites and the systems that are, coming off the ground from areas in their backyard. And many people are really interested in watching the launches and having it in their community.
Well, it's the evolution of space, the technologies and stuff.
It's a bucket list item for me, so I've always wanted to see a rocket launch in person, and have been, curious but following it on social media, and so.
On the other hand, those that are opposed are really concerned about the impacts on the air, on the water, on domestic residences, and wildlife in the region.
The Air Force is just trying to push these things through, and they basically, last year, from 36 launches that they want, 50 launches, and now up to 100 launches per year, which will result in not only 100 sonic booms from each launch, but also 24 more sonic booms from the landings of some of these missiles, these reusables. And so that's 124 sonic booms annually. That's every 3 days. Every 3 days there will be a sonic boom on the average. If you look at the sonic boom chart, the maps that indicate the different levels of sonic booms, these sonic booms are 5 to 10 times more powerful over these areas of the water and the islands than on land. And on land, we know of people saying that it's shaking their buildings, rattling their windows, and freaking out their dogs. Imagine that, 5 to 10 times more powerful over animals that have highly sensitive auditory systems.
You could think of about what a human would do if there's, maybe a plane taking off right next to their head, or, whether you live next to a highway that you really don't, or a train track, maybe you move locations and you don't live there anymore. Or maybe you were fine with it when it was just you living there, but then now you've had a child. And so, your threshold is different for that kind of input.
Highly acoustic animals. They spend their entire lives underwater, and rather than depending as much on vision, though of course they depend on that too, the longer distance impacts for them are through their auditory systems. So they communicate with each other underwater through sound traveling. Their hearing organs are very sensitive, much more sensitive than humans. We rely on vision to see what's ahead of us, to see if there's anything like a car coming at us or whatever. Well, that's what is important for whales and dolphins to be able to analyze through their highly advanced hearing capability, whether there's a ship coming at them or a shark coming at them, or where they're going to find their food, or where they're going to find each other and mate and socialize. And
The average person who hasn't maybe thought too much about it is a loud or a noisy ocean environment would be bad. And that's not necessarily true. Like if you went into a kelp forest or onto a coral reef and it was silent, we would have major concerns. Like, where are all of our creatures that are supposed to be making noise and chatting with each other and finding their food and socializing, So I think loud doesn't necessarily mean bad, However, of course, if you have something like a human introduced sound source would prohibit a natural behavior of an animal. So two mates finding each other, or a mom and a calf communicating, when it's time to nurse, or, something that's a critical behavior or a natural behavior, as soon as we're starting to interfere with that, termed masking, and that's something that we can also measure, like how much of that interference is happening.
Any animal, including harbor seals and whales, dolphins, birds, sea turtles, any animal with some hearing capability, also sensory capability, because they're called pressure waves, these sonic booms. When they experience these, and they've never experienced these really before, it's a whole new threat to them that they will panic.
It's not the other companies. This is about SpaceX increasing their launches.
Commissioners also cited sonic booms and impacts on wildlife. SpaceX has already exceeded the number of launches it was permitted for at Vandenberg. It has plans for as many as 100 a year on the Central Coast.
The EIS considers potential impacts on air quality, marine life, noise, and local infrastructure. Those details are now open for the public to review.
We're forced to kidnap a seal, strap it to a board, put headphones on the seal, and play sonic boom sounds to it to see if it would be distressed.
I mean, sorry, there's a seal with headphones.
Yes. If I was a seal, I'd be like, this is the end.
Studies have shown it takes about 15 seconds for a seal to get the idea, I'm hungry, I'm gonna go out and forage. Okay, and then it basically meditates to get its body ready. 15 seconds to go out into the water where they are able to dive to depths that are so dark and cold that if they hadn't done this preparation, they wouldn't be able to sense anything of their surroundings. But when the sonic boom happens, they don't have that time. They just have to go right into the water. It doesn't matter whether or not they've resupplied their oxygen levels. It doesn't matter whether or not their energy levels are sufficient for them to swim great distances. It doesn't matter if all of their blood supply is going to organs that they won't need out at sea. If they happen to be on the shore after birth and they're nursing, what happens then is that a rocket launch causes all the seals to disperse, and they don't necessarily come back. And when they do come back, studies show that the period of nursing is reduced. So those pups are not going to be as hardy because of repeated rocket launches.
You see, oh, and there's blood on one of them, yes. I don't know if that's from her uterus, like, you know, are we gonna have a baby? Is it an abortion? Or a miscarriage, rather?
It was an obvious trail of blood as the seal was going into the water. The kind of trail you see when a seal gives birth. Every time they're flushed by a sonic boom, it puts them in a panic, and stress, as we all know, as we're learning as a race, takes a toll. It's an incredibly slow birth rate. Only one pup a year, and when that pup is lost because of a sonic boom, because of a premature birth, that seal does not contribute to the colony that year. These are our seals, and we are their stewards. And for us to not tell authorities that the sonic booms are having an effect by premature birth or aborted fetuses then we are not being good stewards. Especially unfortunate now, because their counts are going down.
Multi-species justice in the context of rocket launches and noise pollution means thinking carefully about and caring for the humans and the more than humans, and by that I mean the animals, plant life, marine mammals, and habitat, and more in the vicinity of the Vandenberg base.
I'm just genuinely excited about space, and I want people to be able to fulfill these missions. I also love this planet of the Earth, and so I think there's a way to do both. And taking the data and doing the modeling that we're doing allows us to hopefully start conversations that allow us to fulfill technological missions and science missions and make the world a better place through technology, as well as making sure that we're protecting people's health and well-being along the way.
Well, one story, a very old folk tale, I guess, is David and Goliath. Goliath is the big ugly giant. And then we have the little guy who had the determination and the strength. And we just need to empower ourselves, know that we have a voice, and take action. Protect what we love.